Welcome back to the regulars. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, let's have a drink.
But it was wild to me because on that river, it's like known for having wild horses. And I didn't know wild horses still existed. I thought they were all domesticated. I thought they all had jobs. But apparently they still exist and just wander the mountainside.
Wait. Horses have... That's hilarious, by the way. But I didn't know... I thought all horses had jobs, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you only think of horses in, like, domesticated situations where they're, like, in a barn working for somebody's farm or, like, as show horses. Like, you don't think of, like, horses just running around in the wilderness living their spirit lives to their fullest. Like, you don't think about it like that. But, yeah, no, there's a bunch of wild horses in, like, the Tempe area, and they run across the saltwater river where you tube down. So it was beautiful because we got to see some.
Here's your drink.
Beautiful.
Awesome. What's your name?
Tatiana.
Tatiana, my name is Cam. I'll be your bartender today.
Nice.
Nice. So you went with the Marble Desert Frog.
I did.
I've never had one before. I hear they're great, though.
Fantastic. One of my favorites. Summer refresher for sure.
So what makes it a summer refresher? Like, what makes a beer good in the summer versus good in the winter?
I feel like summer beers have to be a little bit more crisp. Good cold, you know? Like, It's hot outside. You want something that's like, I can take a sip of this and feel cool down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what beer would heat you up then, if it's like winter time?
I really avoid stouts in the summer. Like, any dark beers. Okay. Like, that's not really a summer vibe for me, especially with how heavy they are alcohol content-wise, too. Okay. It's like, that's like in the fall when you're cuddled up near a fireplace trying to be warm without, like...
It's a stout vibe.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah. For me, I think wintertime, it's a wine kind of vibe because wine, like, makes me all, like, warm and bubbly.
See, I have a love-hate relationship because I've been trying to kick drinking beers, but the keyword is trying.
I was going to say,
keyword is trying.
Should I...
No.
No? Okay. Why are you trying to kick beers?
I just have loved them. I've loved it a lot. It's been like a solid 2 years of finding beers that I like and exploring like the space and seeing stuff from all over the place, so... It's just been a little while. I'm developing a beer gut, and that's mostly why it's time to lay it off. Yeah. I'm ready to move on to broader horizons, I guess.
Fair. So you're switching more to seltzers then?
Ugh, now I hate seltzers. Those are even worse.
So then what do you like outside of beer then?
I am a wine girl.
Okay.
I do like wine, but I'm also from Jalisco, where they grow tequila. So
Jalisco. Where's Jalisco at?
Jalisco, Mexico.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, it's near Tequila, which is where they do a lot of the growing of the agave plants and stuff. So I love tequila. It's just, I've had good tequila since I was a kid. I visited my family out there like every summer since I was a kid. So it is what it is. It's in the blood.
So you immigrated from Mexico to America then?
No, I'm first gen born here.
Okay, gotcha.
My parents both moved to the States at different times. My mom crossed over when she was like 4. My dad crossed over when he was like 18, 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's it like living, I mean, you live in New Mexico, right? And in New Mexico, like 30 to 40% of the population is questionable status of citizenship, right? Absolutely. But what's it like living with family members and parents who are immigrants from another country, legal or illegal?
I mean, I feel like it definitely just makes you more sensitive to the subject because, like, yeah, you encounter people in your daily lives. You're like, wow, I couldn't imagine this neighborhood being the same without you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to imagine this neighborhood without you, you know? But it's definitely a possibility for a lot of people around us, so.
In New Mexico specifically, but if you were to travel outside of New Mexico, like I used to live in Montana, right? If you travel outside of those states, they have a genuine fear of immigrants. Yet don't have the same immigrant load that we do.
Yeah, it's a little terrifying to see, honestly, because I definitely have seen it more across the states now that I've traveled a little bit more throughout the states.
So you travel a lot then?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel like I've gotten a better grasp for what people encounter as far as being immigrants in the States outside of New Mexico, because I did grow up here. Like, I was born here. I'm used to seeing the people. I knew Spanish growing up too, like seeing it everywhere. It just felt normal. And then being in places where that's not the norm, that's not the huge, people react very differently to it. And that was definitely like kind of a hard lesson to learn coming out of New Mexico because you're just so used to it. It's like second nature. You don't think about it until you see it in a very different light. But
when I travel, it's going to be different when you travel, because when I travel, I fit into these places. I fit into Ohio or to Montana or to even the South. I fit in. I look normal there, right? So what's it like for someone who has a darker complexion to travel? Are you looked at as exotic? Are you looked at down upon because of your ethnicity? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, it's different where you go. Like, it's definitely depends on the area. Like, in the States, it's been a very different mixed bag. In Europe, honestly, I had a very different experience everywhere we went. So definitely really depends on the people you're with. Like, in the States, depending on where you're at, where it's like either heavily populated by immigrants or not.
Okay.
Are people used to seeing people that look like them, or used to seeing people that look a little bit like everything, so it's not a big deal? Or situations with like visiting family that lives in Utah, they straight up got pulled over, and it was definitely because the cop just like, we saw the cop see them on the road, follow them for like 2 miles, find something to pull them over for, and then pull them over. And it was like, okay, what made them stand out?
They were brown.
Exactly. Didn't quite look like everybody else in Utah. So
Utah's a place. Utah is a place. One thing I had to say about Utah, though, they have an amazing music scene there.
Really?
Great music comes out of Utah. They have a really good metal scene, a good alternative scene. I like it. I like the music scene. Outside of that, I have a lot of friends and such in Utah, but I'm not a fan.
I think it's beautiful out there.
Pretty.
Like, we went to Zion, the Zion Park out there, and it was gorgeous. I loved it. It was during 2020 though, so it wasn't like open. You could literally just drive through, which was like nice because it's like, ooh, it's so pretty, but you can only enjoy it so much through the car. So,
are you a very active person? Like, you got like the national parks and everything like that?
I try to be. I try to fit it in where I can fit it into my schedule. Like,
what's the best place you've been to so far?
Honestly, that's a really hard question. I don't know if I could pick a best place. I can tell you the most recent place I've gone to.
Most recent, and maybe like the top ones that come to mind.
Okay, so I just went to Phoenix. I went to saltwater tubing, or Salt Lake, or Salt River.
I've never even heard of it.
It's like near Tempe. They have a river that you like jump in with tubes, but people do it regularly and like go with their friends, tie all their tubes together and just float down the river. It's gorgeous. Like the scenery is beautiful. The water's nice and cold. It's like 110 degrees. But it was wild to me because on that river, it's like known for having wild horses. And I didn't know wild horses still existed. I thought they were all domesticated. I thought they all had jobs. But apparently they still exist and just wander the mountainside.
Wait. Horses have... That's hilarious, by the way. But I didn't know... I thought all horses had jobs, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you only think of horses in, like, domesticated situations where they're, like, in a barn working for somebody's farm, or, like, as show horses. Like, you don't think of, like, horses just running around in the wilderness, living their spirit lives to their fullest. Like, you don't think about it like that. But, yeah, no, there's a bunch of wild horses in, like, the Tempe area, and they run across the saltwater river where you tube down. So it was beautiful because we got to see some. That was
wild
cool.
horses.
Yeah.
I wonder how that happened, too, because horses aren't indigenous to the American continent. They were brought over by settlers.
I mean, that area, it surprised me a lot because, goddamn, Phoenix is hot.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck. It's awful.
It is so hot out there. I just can't imagine anything living out there, but things do, and wild horses is one of them. So that was cool to see, for sure. We saw some wild rams while we were out there on the river, too, so that was super cool. Like, huge horns just came down like it was Disneyland and stared at us for a while.
That's crazy.
It was cool.
That's crazy. Where else have you been that's of note? Within, like, I'm talking like more like wildlife side of things.
Wildlife side of things.
Like state parks, like Tent Rocks or Glacier, Yellowstone or Yosemite, whatever.
I recently went to Puerto Peñasco.
Nice. That's in Mexico, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on the side over there by Phoenix, like 3 hours from the border there. That was beautiful. Gorgeous beaches.
If I think about my geography, Puerto Peñasco has this, it's like a little inlet into the mainland, and it's off of that little inlet of the ocean, right?
Like, it's basically, where like Baja, Mexico is? There's that little teeny tiny corner. It's like the corner of Arizona that barely leans into that teeny tiny corner that is still technically Mexico.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Very touristy.
That's basically the only people that live there. Like the town is basically abandoned when it's not tourist season, and when tourism comes is when like people come show up and
to
work and then they leave because like there's nothing out there, which is why it was so notable because literally you're just driving through like desert, like
nothing.
like cartoon desert where you just see flat land and little
there's a
cactuses
roadrunner going by,
and then all of a sudden you pull up and there's this huge ocean, like you just pull up on beach. From desert. It doesn't seem like those two
nice
things
beach,
go together.
Like tropical beach or?
It's like soft sandy beach. It's really nice. The water out there is pretty warm from that side of the ocean.
Or flying here.
Little gulf. And like the weather was super nice. The beach is super cool. You can find some giant seashells out there.
Nice.
Very cool.
The one time I've been to Mexico, I've been a couple times, but the one time I went like on the beach was in Mazatlan. And my favorite part about Mazatlan was the guys walking around with these giant mangoes. They're like so big there. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it felt like they were this big. And they like cut them up and they looked like pineapples and they got like chimoya sauce on there.
Okay, I was going to say. Now here's the important question. Did you get it with chili or not?
You have to.
Okay.
They didn't give me another option. It's just, here you go. Thank you.
No, definitely delicious. One of my favorite parts of going to the beach. It's fantastic. They just show up with exactly what you need when you need it.
So what's it like going to Mexico as someone who has the heritage from there but isn't actually living there? Sorry about this fly. This is like annoying here. I don't know where they came from. But what's it like visiting back to Mexico, even though you didn't live there necessarily, but your heritage is from there?
I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, I speak Spanish, so it's like you get the insider view.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't look super Latina, so a lot of times, even though I speak Spanish, people will still give me the, like...
You're like a no sabo
the tourist
kid.
treatment, you know? Like, so that's cool. People don't ever expect me really to speak Spanish or guess that I'm, like, from there and know what's up. And I'm like, hey, don't try to scam me. I know better.
I know the peso to USD
exactly.
ratio. I know this stuff.
But it's like it's interesting. It's really cool. It does feel like it's useful to get to know things more authentically. You know, like you can talk to people, see things from like their side, be outside of just being like a tourist there. You know, but
is that the only time that you ever traveled to Mexico?
No. I have family out there, so
so
the majority of my family on my dad's side's out there. We go at least once every year.
Nice.
A couple times a month if we can.
That's a lot. Wow. Constantly out there.
Well, like we'll try to go out there for at least like a month or in between a month or two, like every year.
Yeah.
Like for a little while, depending on whether it's me that goes by myself or like the whole family goes or my dad will go. We just rotate our time out there, honestly.
Okay. So the American political system is extraordinarily turmoil right now. So me saying this can sound kind of hypocritical, but the Mexico political system is kind of like crazy. A lot of things about the Mexico society are crazy. So do you have any crazy stories from being in Mexico?
Yeah, actually, like there's it's a completely different side of politics to like think about it from that side, because there's so much more at play. Well, not even that I think that there's so much more at play. I think there's just so much more at play publicly. Okay. You know, like I'm not saying those things don't exist everywhere. They just exist in a very different light. Like everybody knows about it. So of course people see it under like what they're seeing because it's very publicly known. I think a lot of governments kind of keep it more hush hush. Yeah. But like I did recently come back from Mexico, and while we were there was a couple that was staying in the same Airbnb as us, right? But it was like across the hall from us. Yeah. The same night that we got there, they were talking about how they got some camera equipment stolen from their car while they were at the beach. I was like, that sucks. The dude worked for some big production company, so it was some like pretty expensive cameras that were not his, they were his businesses, so they were kind of pressed about getting them back. They talked to the tourism police and like the police station that was there, and they told them straight up like, okay, we really can't do anything about this, but we can take you to the cartel. If you want the cartel to find your stuff, they'll find your stuff, but no, somebody's gonna end up dead.
Oh, snap.
So they were like, at that point they decided just to like cut their losses with their stuff, and were just like, nah.
Wait. So the cartel, everyone knows the cartel exists. People within Mexico knows the cartel exists.
Absolutely.
But the cartel can help tourists.
Okay, so I mean, it depends on where you're at, and there's obviously like different places, but there
different cartels too.
Different cartels, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It differs from where you're at, but in that place specifically, it was that the cartel recently kind of took over the place of the police in that area. And because they want tourism to be there, they're very tough on the people who are in that city because they don't want to scare the tourists into not coming back, because that's the only thing that like keeps their economy going. That's the only thing that keeps them like having business and stuff and like traffic in that town,
right? You can't be a criminal organization without a thriving economy.
Exactly. So in order to keep like that happy and people coming, they deal with situations where it comes to stuff like, oh, my shit got stolen, or somebody pushed me, or I got in a fight with somebody, and like those kinds of things where the police don't really have control, the cartel does. And so you face like the kind of cartel's judgment and justice. So to a lot of those points, it comes to like, okay, well, you stole some expensive things from some American tourists, now they're going to be scared, they're going to tell their friends, people are going to like, you hurt us inadvertently by stealing these things, even though you're just doing ladron things, you know, like they're bad guys do bad shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
steal
people
your
steal things everywhere.
But so the cartels are the ones that kind of like figure out who stole it, go see what's up. They get you your shit back. A lot of times they'll make people pay for it. Like tourists will be like, okay, we'll get your stuff back. It's gonna cost you like $200, and we'll find it for you. But what they don't like usually say like straight up to your face, because they don't want to scare people, is that the person that probably stole your stuff is gonna get shot.
So if that's the case, then does American tourism to Mexico benefit the mafia or the cartel? Mafia, cartel, synonymous words here. But does it hurt the local people?
I mean, definitely. It comes to the point where it's like people in their towns just want to feel safe. So they're going to go to whoever is going to be able to protect them in the ways that they need to be protected, right? So that's where you get a lot of the like different situations in different places, because there are more police like activities in certain places where you can rely on the police a little more, and then there's other places where it's like, okay, I'm not really going to tell my local police officer about how somebody broke into my house. I'm going to go to the kid on the end of the street who usually stands there and watches what's going on and find out where my stuff is and get my stuff back. So
at what point does the cartel then become a staple in the community? Because cartels, I think of mafia, right? I think of drug running, I think of murder, and I think of Sons of Anarchy, right? That's what I think of, like the Mayan season that just came out, right?
I haven't watched it yet, but
it's really good. Okay. Would highly recommend. But at what point does a cartel become a staple in the community and beneficial to the community? Does it ever become beneficial to the community?
I don't know. I think that's a good question to ask somebody who lives in the community. You know, like I, as a tourist, have these experiences just passing through. People who live in that community are the only ones that can answer those questions, because like there's highs and lows that we don't see, and things that I'm sure I've considered that they don't consider. So you'd really have to like live in that situation to be like, this benefits me in these ways, but is bad for me in this way. You know, like you really can't tell unless you're living with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I think the communities in Mexico are so amazing. I've been to Mexico a couple different times. The only time that I went on tourist side was on a cruise, but I just remember the communities being so awesome and really like beautiful. Like it's a beautiful country. It's so pretty. It's kind of jungly once you get down there into like the tropical part of things.
Yeah.
The people are very pleasant. Everything's real bright and colorful. I love the culture of it. But then I hear about or I worry about or I see things that just fuck it up. And I feel really bad. I feel real bad. Because if America could look and have the awesome culture that Mexico does, I would be amazed and happy. Like I really want that here. But I don't want the cartel here. You know?
It is what it is, man. You know, like everywhere has their ups and downs, and this kind of stuff exists all over the place. Like, it wasn't until last summer that I found out there's apparently a big Nazi community in Greece. That surprised me.
A Nazi community in Greece?
Yes. Apparently there's a big presence there. I was shocked to find that out.
Well, I wonder if it's because of their declining economy.
I mean, that's definitely part of it, because a lot of other European citizens have been buying up that land for super cheap from people who generally lived there for a long time. So, like, there's a big movement with that kind of thing. So
anti-immigration, I mean, you gotta have an scapegoat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're dealing with their whole political and economic crash. But I was shocked to find out from some teenagers that I met there last summer on the beach that they were like, don't go to these restaurants. They're run by like low-key Nazis. And I was like, oh, okay, all right.
We actually have a group of Nazis in Albuquerque, and I don't know anything about them. I've been told that they have a pop-up store at one of the local mercados, like the places where it's just like everyone buys a booth and they can just sell their shit.
Oh, okay.
Flea market style, not mercado, flea market. and they have one there where they sell like literature and like artifacts and like stuff like that. And
Terrifying.
I haven't been to look because Nazis, but scary.
Scary to think about, especially in your community. But I mean, it exists everywhere. It's just whether you care to look or they care to be seen. Like it exists everywhere. I think it's just a matter of how highly publicized and televised it is. I think these kinds of things kind of just go on underneath the radar a little bit more in the States, but can still
even recently
exist
though
in a lot
it's
of
coming
certain capacities.
Yeah, it's coming out more in the States though, like more public, like with the last 4 year administration, and then just the political divide. It feels like Nazis are more okay with being public of being Nazis now.
I don't know, man. That's something that I feel like 100%, yeah. But I feel like that also has a lot to play in with like the way the pandemic affected everything, and also social media has come along and made it so much easier for people to have platforms to say whatever the fuck they want to say.
And then unfortunately, if you do eliminate someone's platform based upon something like hate speech, or that does in a way limit freedom of speech.
Ultimately, yes.
But is it a good kind of limiting of freedom of speech? Well, yes, but should you even limit freedom? Like, I
don't know.
Yeah, it's a
I
whole
have
thing.
Mixed feelings on it, especially with how much my iPhone listens to what I say in my everyday life, and then I get the Target ads. Like, yeah, no, I definitely feel like we're definitely getting a picture that you are getting fed a picture for you specifically a lot.
It's all tailored towards you. I mean,
exactly.
if you go on Instagram, TikTok, your For You page is tailored based upon what you said at the store, or the video you liked the last time, and there's a whole algorithm to it, even on YouTube, right?
Exactly, but that affects the kind of information you're getting then at that point. Like, you're only getting that skewed bias information because that's already what you're leaning towards. So I feel like that also, along with the fact that anybody who wants to say anything they can put it out there,
No, absolutely. No,
makes it easier to be seen, and unfortunately groups like Nazis feel more comfortable being seen in today's out and about society, I guess. Not
even Nazis, even. Like, there's covert Nazis. You just don't call them Nazis anymore. You call them radical evangelicals, or you call them... There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's different organizations. They're out there,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Your what have yous.
Your what have yous. That's the nicest thing we can say about them. They're the what have yous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be our fill in the world for Nazi from here on out. Is just what have yous. I like it.
There we go.
I like it. That way we don't piss off the Nazis. I mean, what have yous.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna avoid being under their gaze.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I feel like being out like an enemy of the Nazis probably isn't the safest. But then if you're not the enemy of the Nazi, then you're probably...
But you're always somebody's enemy, no matter what.
But there's also someone to be dangerous. Like I'd rather be the enemy of, I don't know, the local Republican Party than I would the cartel or the Nazis or, I don't know, Russia, I guess. I don't want Russia to target me, personally, right? That being said, though, if I'm not with them, I'm against them. So I technically already am a Nazi. An anti-Nazi, anti-Russian, anti-all that, right? So
fair enough.
Because I'm not with them. So I don't know.
Trying times, man.
It is. It very much is. Oh, go ahead. You feel like?
We really have to ride a line with these political things that are happening in our generation in a way that a lot of other generations haven't had to deal with. So take it as it comes.
Yeah, you have to take it as it comes. I feel like you can't, like, there is value and there's, I have respect for people who just throw it all out there, who are like, fuck this, fuck that, you rock, you suck, cancel this, promote this. And I'm like, I get that, especially if I agree with it. I'm like, heck yeah. But I feel like there's almost a way to be tactful about it where you do skirt that line, but in doing so are able to persuade people over to a better mode of thinking, a more righteous and I guess the word would be like, good mode of thinking, like more human based, more like empathetic. But if you go too far on the no, fuck you, but at the same time, fuck them, right? Like I don't even know how to do it.
You catch more flies with honey than,
Yeah, with whatever not honey is.
Yeah, the other option, the one that...
Vinegar. Someone said okay,
yeah,
the bar said
vinegar.
Yeah, someone at the bar said vinegar. So yeah. So that we're talking about Mexico a lot. You've traveled to Europe. We talked about Greece. Where else have you traveled within Europe?
I did a little bit of time in Spain.
Nice.
I did Barcelona.
That's one of my top lists, actually.
Oh, really?
Spain. I want Spain, Japan, and Rome. Those are my top 3.
Oh, heck yeah. Spain was dope. I really liked it. The only like thing about being in Spain was you have to be ready to go to the beach every single day. The Spanish love their beach time.
Okay.
They'll go every day. Like day. After work. It's part of the ritual. Like, it was really nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Barcelona was fantastic. They had a really cool art scene, and architecture was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's so much to see. It was beautiful, honestly. I didn't spend enough time to see everything that was there. And I would love to go back to see more. But
from what I gather, Spain is hands down one of the more, like, you don't think about Spain too much, but and especially with their past and the conquistadors, the colonizers, right? But they're actually a relatively progressive and cool society. Like they were one of the first countries in the European Union to legalize gay marriage, and they're actually kind of cool. Like you don't think about it too much. But yeah, they're kind of cool.
I enjoyed being there. My time there was really cool. Like I enjoyed using all of the public transportation, and like, that was such a big thing for me. Especially being from somewhere like Albuquerque, where
you drive everywhere.
Exactly. Like there's no way to use the public transportation here. That sucks.
If you do use it, it's because your car broke and it takes an extra hour on your trip.
Oh yeah, no. And I live in the valley, so it's super far. There's like 2 buses that go out there total?
There's the one stop off Isleta.
Literally.
I think that's it.
So yeah, no. I loved that about Europe is the public transportation. If I could never have to touch a steering wheel again, I would.
That'd be amazing. That's very appealing to me.
That was cool, and we walked everywhere in Spain too, so that was also a really cool experience. Like they take advantage of that kind of.
So they have a healthy lifestyle then.
Exactly.
What is the food like in Spain versus American?
It was different in that the portions are very different.
Yeah, like smaller? Or?
Yeah, definitely smaller. I mean, tapas are the big thing in Spain, so it's like little plates of a lot of things, so you get to try a little bit of everything.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
They love to drink out there too, so that was cool.
Love to drink. Okay. So you've had you talk about being a beer girl, you've had beers across the world.
Yes.
Right? Who has the best beer?
Okay, this might be biased because I'm an Albuquerque girl on top of being a beer girl, but I love our beer scene here.
It's a good beer scene. It's a damn
love
good
our
beer
scene here. I've definitely had more microbrews in like Mexico and Greece and Europe and stuff, and I've definitely had some great beers, but I feel like I could never find what I found here.
That's fair. That's fair.
You don't have to throw rock very hard before you hit a great brewery in Albuquerque. So
they're everywhere. And sometimes they're next to each other. I'm like, how did you do that?
But they're both like good enough to
I know,
survive.
and they're both sticking around. I'm like, oh, cool.
It's fantastic.
There truly is a brewery for everyone in Albuquerque. It's really cool.
I would say so. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a fair statement. I 100% agree.
So outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, best beer you've had?
I had the one that's coming to mind for me right now was a IPA from Guadalajara. It was a microbrewery IPA. I think it was called Piedra Lisa.
Nice.
Yes, yeah. And I got that in Guadalajara like twice, and that one was really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
You ever gonna be able to get it again? Or?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Okay. It was near where my family lives, so it's a place that I frequent pretty regularly. Yeah. I can stop by again at what restaurant I went to.
That's fair.
Can go back.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's cool though. So Spain, Greece. Have you traveled anywhere else in the world?
I was in Germany for a little bit. We also did Amsterdam and Paris on my Greece. And
I've heard interesting things about France and Paris in general. Like sometimes positive, a lot of negative, like kind of 50-50. What was your take on it?
I also had a lot of preconceived notions going into Paris. I was assuming everyone was going to be really mean to me, but honestly, no. It was great. Okay. I had a fun time.
Good. Okay.
I had a good experience. It was nice. People were pretty nice to us, which is not what I heard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the most part, though, I feel like the stereotype is people are mean to Americans there. And I was there with one of my friends who is Arabi, so we don't fit the American stereotype. So for the most part, people were pretty nice to us, and especially between her and I speak Spanish, she speaks Arabic. We were able to always
Spanish
find
is pretty close
somebody.
To French too.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We were always able to speak with somebody and also kind of have a little bit of a buffer between being okay, cool, I don't speak French. You want to speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, speak English. Everyone speaks English.
Yeah, but you always found
last
something.
option. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. My wife is learning French currently. She's bilingual as well because her family's from Mexico City area.
Ooh.
Yeah. So same thing. She was born here, but all of her family's from mom and dad are from there. And so she's learning French, and she was telling me she's like, it's not too different. It's a little different, but It's just like subtle things you have to pick up on, and there's a big similarity between the two.
Yeah, those Romance languages, they're all pretty close. But
yeah. Once you learn one,
great.
you can kind of knock them out.
100%.
No, absolutely. So aside of the global scale, do you have any interesting stories from traveling in the U.S.? Because you said you travel the States a lot. Is that for work, for school? What is that for?
For my job currently. Okay. Yeah, we kind of travel around. I train, so I just go wherever they send us. And that's been pretty interesting because I definitely feel like I've traveled a lot more of Mexico before this job. Yeah. So I hadn't really seen a lot of the States. And now I've
seen all of them.
Seen a lot of the States. Maybe not all of them, but we're getting there. Yeah. Like, my worst experience so far was freezing.
Freezing where?
North Dakota.
Oh, there's nothing in North Dakota.
It was terrible. It was like so cold. You would wake up to negative freezing weather warnings, like from your bed in your heated room, freezing because it's negative 5 degrees outside. At
Did you go in the summer?
No, it was like February, which still is like February.
I was going to say, because like negative 5 is not that cold for North Dakota.
Yeah, no, that was just when you woke up. When the wind speeds picked up, it got up to like negative 30, negative 40, and that was awful.
I lived in Sheridan, Wyoming for it was the 2016, 2017 winter. And I remember Christmas Eve getting to like a negative 45, negative 50, wind chill bringing it to negative 60. And I remember our car getting stuck.
Oh my God.
It's like where you like walk outside and it hurts to breathe, kind of cold.
That sounds awful. Yeah, no. I I guess I already knew I did not like the cold, but going there, I was like, yeah, I'd never live here.
You don't like seasonal cold though, like the snow every once in a while?
Seasonal cold, not that bad, but I would not be able to live somewhere that it's like cold for 8 months out of the year.
That's fair. Although summer in North Dakota is really nice. It happened on a Tuesday last year.
If you missed that Tuesday afternoon, though, sorry.
Yeah, you're back to cold.
Yeah.
Back to cold.
Immediately.
Absolutely. So what did you do before that job then? So you're working as a trainer for...
a software company.
Software company, okay.
Yeah.
What did you do before the job? Did you go to college? Did you go to college here? What did you do?
I graduated UNM.
Nice.
Everyone's level.
Woo.
Yeah.
My wife just graduated from UNM, so...
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, congratulations to her. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know why I looked up. She's not dead. She's probably at home.
Gracias a Dios. Damn. But I graduated UNM last May. I was working at a acupuncture clinic pre-2020, and then, COVID happened, shit hit the fan, everyone lost their jobs. So, me included. A lot of things changed within my existence around that time, too, so kind of just finished graduating, took that time to focus, did school, did a lot of traveling, honestly, the last couple of years. That's just been what I've been focusing on.
Always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fair. You got to be able to have some fun in life. If you work forever, it's just not fulfilling.
Exactly. Not it. Especially post 2020, I feel like that clarified a lot of things for me personally. Just being like, these are things I find important in my life. I'm going to make time to do them. So make moves to make that happen. And that's what's happening. So
COVID really shifted the dynamic of our society, in that we had to come to grips with who we are and what we needed in our lives, I think.
Absolutely.
Because we didn't have no longer the hustle and bustle of modern society to keep us either distracted from what was bothering us or preventing us from pursuing what we wanted.
Exactly. Very different time to be alive, for sure. The way my dad puts it is, he says, sin responsabilidades. He said, you just want to be irresponsible forever.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't have anything tying me down right now. I'm chilling.
I don't have a kid. I don't have a dog that's relying on me. If you do, I have a dog that relies on me. Okay, never mind. Well, then I have a dog that relies on me that I take with, and then you just go.
You just live life. Yeah. No, 100%. My dad was the one who clocked that, and it cracked me up because he literally put it as you just don't want to be responsible for anything, do you? And I was like, yeah, no. If I can focus on myself for a while, then I'm gonna do it.
I graduated college. What do you want from me?
I'm not mad about it. Why are you?
How hard was it to find a job after going so long without it?
So.
Because currently, the current political climate is complaining about how no one's going back to work. There's a shortage everywhere. No one can get a job, or if they don't want a job, they're not actually looking for the job, and I can't hire anybody. You were an example of somebody who did get laid off during COVID, went to school, and then got a really fun, successful job that lets you travel a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that situation is very unique to the States just because, like, people like you and I who grew up at Dion's, you know? Like, you get your first job, you're young, you don't know what's up, you do whatever because that's your first job, right? Like, you're excited, you get money. You don't know that you're not being treated the best, that you're not making a fair wage, that you're kind of being exploited as far as working hard and how much you're making and how many hours you're making and like the benefits and pros and cons of having a job. You don't really know what to look for as far as the kind of career that you want. And I feel like right now with COVID, that really pointed it out to a lot of people. Like, yo, I don't want to do this job. My time is not worth this much money. Like, no, if it's not worth my time, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's been a lot of the problem recently, is just because that opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't want to go back to work because it's like, yeah, no, my time is worth more than your $8.50 an hour. Thank you.
$8.50. I forgot that I started at $8.50 at Dion's. Holy shit. That just blew my mind. Did you like working for Dion's?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed like learning how to make pizzas. It taught me a lot about myself and working with other people. But as far as being like a job, would I ever go back? No.
No, they don't pay enough.
Never in a million years.
Actually, whenever you get into because there's somebody that works with me in my current job who was a general manager for Dion's at one point and was like being paid out to like open stores in Denver and was like making like that almost like black shirt money, right?
Yeah.
And so he told me that it's at some certain points it just gets too hard to leave Dion's if you want to because they keep paying you a chunk of money to make pizzas. And that's true to a certain point, but then if like because I started at $8.50, I think I was 14 when I started. I was real young when I started, and to me, an extra $100 to $200 every other week was like mind blowing to me because I was 14. But looking back, I'm like, that's ass. That's literally nothing.
You look back at it and are like, wow, I really did that much extra work. And
I worked my tail off. I loved it. That was my favorite job. It still is my favorite job because I had cool people to work around. I got to make pizzas. I liked most of my managers. There's only like 2 employees that I really didn't like there. I got to be an expert, right? The trainer.
Yeah.
So what was your experience work? Because I know a lot of other people have either great or really bad experiences working for Dion's.
I mean, I loved it. Like you said, you work with great people. I think that's been the biggest takeaway from working at Dion's. Like, hey, we met at Dion's. We're still hitting each other up and having great conversations, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the case with a lot of the other people that we've worked with in the past. Like, I'll still see all of our other coworkers around town or just like see them. And
you always run into people that you know at fucking Frontier every time without fail.
It's a staple.
It is. Every time I go to Frontier, I see at least one person that I know. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
It really is a small town. Yeah,
for real. You can't meet anybody without them being within your friend group within like a couple of people.
Oh yeah, it's that Bacon effect, right? It's Kevin Bacon, where it's 7 degrees of bacon, where everyone can trace they're somehow 7 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. So for example, if I like Kevin Bacon, right? Turns out I'm a real big breakfast guy. My favorite thing about breakfast is scrambled eggs, but I don't like eating scrambled eggs unless they have some bacon with them. Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Gotcha.
But in New Mexico, it's like 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where I can trace myself to you as a person within 3 degrees. You know this person, I know that person, I know you, right?
Yes,
every time.
Exactly.
Without fail.
Every single time. You can meet the most obscure people and you're like, wait a minute, do you know this person? They're like, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Wait a minute, I know that too. What?
Exactly. You could be like best friends and you don't even know it.
Small world, man.
Small state, honestly. Like, it's quaint and it's cute. Just like the ability just to know a lot of people here. It's also a curse, though. Like, I wish no one knew me sometimes.
Anonymity is very cool. It's definitely something that I have learned to enjoy through my traveling, too. Like, it's kind of cool going places and really being like, I don't give a fuck what you think. You're never going to see me again, dude.
Ever again.
So...
Ever again.
That has definitely... been a different vibe from being here where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to the grocery store because what if I run into my math teacher from like 6th grade
and
I'm in my pajamas and you know, like you don't have to worry about that when you're in a different state. It's like,
you got to be real careful to not burn bridges here.
Exactly.
Because like if you do, you have to pick them carefully and understand that you will see them again in public.
Oh, 100%. Probably at a terrible time.
At a horrible time. Like, the worst time to see someone you hate is over at, like, State Fair or Balloon Fiesta or something like that, and you're like, fuck. Don't look at me. How you doing? Do you need another drink or is that?
Actually, I was wondering if you had any orange juice.
I happen to have orange juice. Yes. Why?
I'm gonna put you on this marble desert fog.
Okay.
Delicious on a nice Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
Top it off with a little bit of OJ.
Oh, okay.
I like to do about an inch off the top.
And then you just juggle.
That's it.
That sounds surprisingly good. It's a little bit off for me, but I think I'm going to join you with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool.
By all means, give it a try. Tell me what you think.
Because I have never heard of that, ever. So that's really cool.
Like I said, best beer scene.
It is.
Gotta love it.
Cheers. Let me chug this a little bit so I can get some of that in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I've only been to Marble, like the brewing company, once. And I went to the one that's in, like, off of, like, Lomas and, like, what is
First.
that, Lomas and First? Yeah. Real big. I was surprised.
Did you go on, like, a weekend day, or was it a weekend?
I went on a Thursday, or Tuesday, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of my coworkers, my day job, it was one of my coworkers' birthdays. And we all went together, and then we all got COVID.
Oh, no.
So that sucked. But it was a really fun time, regardless. And it obviously wasn't Marble that gave it to us. Because we went to Marble, and then we went across the street to the Spirits.
Still Spirits?
Still Spirits, yeah.
Yeah.
And somewhere hanging out. And then after we went to Silva Lane. So somewhere between those three places, one of us got it, and then all of us got it.
And then everyone got it, yeah. Oof.
That is
Big
amazing.
Oof. Yay, I'm glad you like it. Yes.
Cheers. Oh, man.
Fantastic.
This is the first time I've ever drinking with a guest in my bar before. Mm-hmm. I've been real stickler about that, but I really wanted to try this. So.
Well, I feel special.
You are. Cheers.
Thanks, Kim. For real.
So, have you gotten COVID yet?
Which time?
Oh, shit. Tell me, like, do you have long haul?
Okay, so I definitely got COVID in January 2020, like literally between 2019 and 2020, because my best friend had flown from LA to New York to Albuquerque and then spent like a week with me before we went to Mexico together, right? So she literally hit all the hot spots before it was in the news. Like, I got super sick, was dying, had all the symptoms, was like, it's just a flu.
A very serious flu.
March hits and it comes out everywhere. COVID, coronavirus, it blew up in New York, it blew up in LA, it blew up all the places that were in the States, like, known first. And I was like, wait a minute, my friend was in those places. She then showed up in my house for a week and then I got super sick. So I definitely had COVID in like early January, end of December 2019, early 2020, without like knowing what it was. And then obviously got vaccinated, everything once it started coming out, and we're super careful. Did all of that whole spiel, and then got it for my birthday this year. So
happy motherfucking birthday!
Yeah,
How old did you turn?
Ugh, I don't want to say that on TV.
22, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 22.
We'll go with that.
You're not that much older than me.
No.
Because I was 14 when I started.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not too much older, but I'm not gonna get into how much older.
No, that's fair. No, that's fair. I should have asked a little more. That's fair. So did you end up with long haul at all, or you? Because I got COVID. This literally happened like less than a month ago.
Ah, really?
So I'm good. Don't worry, I'm good. It was like a month ago.
It was a month ago.
Yeah. But when COVID hit me, I just didn't get sick. Like, it really wasn't that bad.
Okay, yeah.
And then I got I went negative on it, so I was like, good. And now I have this, like, I have a weakened lung capacity. I have this really, like, awful, like, sinus issue right here. And it's like, I'm always fatigued. Like, it's like long haul COVID. And I was reading that 20% of people get long haul.
I have been noticing this amongst my friends and everybody that I've known that has gotten it recently, because while I had it, I was asymptomatic. Like, I didn't have anything. The only reason I even checked to see if I had COVID was because my brother came home from school with it, and he was testing positive, and he was pretty sick. So my mom and dad both took their COVID test, and they were negative. So I was like, I feel fine. Chances are I'm not going to have shit. But, like, I took the test. Sure enough, came back positive. So both me and my brother were sick. But he was, like, dying while I was just, like, chilling. So it wasn't that bad that time, but a lot of my friends have been having like a super bad cough is what I've heard. Like, that they are over it and done, like a month, like weeks past, and they've been getting prescribed inhalers with like special instructions,
like a albuterol and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm asthmatic, so I have like an emergency albuterol inhaler, and I've had to use it a lot more lately because of COVID.
No, my friends who've never had inhalers before are getting them prescribed to them from their doctors because of their COVID cough that has been lasting forever, and they just like can't get rid of it. So it's definitely, I think, kind of a common.
I wonder
occurrence.
How long it's going to perpetuate. Like, how long are we just going to be permanently stuck with COVID? Like that's what I'm worried about, because I used to have better lung capacity, and I hope not.
It's modern day Spanish flu, dude. Like, you had to get the flu shot every year.
That's fair.
You know?
Is that where the flu shot came from? Was the Spanish flu?
It was a Spanish influenza in like I want to say 50s, 60s. Don't quote me on that though. But
because I know the Spanish influenza happened like the pandemic was in the 1920s.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was definitely
another one
that could have been it. No, honestly, that could have been it. I don't know, bad with dates.
History repeats itself, because in 1920 they're like, oh shit, everyone's dying, and they're like, they're not dying, and then everyone else died, and they're like, fuck, they're dying, and so they close everything down, and then all the people were like, no, open it back up, and they open it too early, and then everyone dies again, so they close. It repeats itself.
Sounds kind of.
And they got out of it in 1923.
Okay. Yep. Sounds a little familiar.
So we're no, exactly, right?
Sounding a little familiar there.
They were on their way out in 22. They like had it sort of figured out, and then 2023 they were like over it. But history repeats itself.
Even then, still like people still get their flu shots every year.
Yeah,
now it's just going to be you have to re-up your flu shot and your COVID shot every fall or spring or whatever.
I mean, there's a ton of people that don't get their flu shots.
Exactly, and at this point, I feel like everybody's really hardcore leaning on herd immunity, which I guess is what has worked in the past for a lot of things, but...
Yeah, I remember being in Montana, I was surrounded by conservatives, and while up there, I was a part of a religious faction that was known to be, very right. And one of the leaders at the time came up to one of our meetings and was like, hey, by the way, we want you to get your flu shot. We want you to get it so bad that we brought someone here to give it to you. And they like hired a nurse to come out and give us all flu shots, because the one of our, she was a female leader actually. She was like, yeah, get your flu shot, right? She was like a mom figure almost, and like 50% of the people out there just didn't want to get it, because I'll get sicker if I get it. I have my natural immune system. Those vaccines cause autism. Like all like the standard rhetoric from the far right, and it's real sad. That's the last call. Are you good with just that, or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish this up.
Okay, perfect, cool. We have some more time to chat,
absolutely.
But that is last call. So
all
everyone's gonna be closing around us while we finish up.
No worries, no worries.
What are some things out of the pandemic that you approve? Because like pandemic sucked.
I think for everybody.
It was just
a given
ass.
at this point.
Yeah, pandemic just sucked
world.
ass. What were some things that you grew from it, that you learned from it, that you appreciated, that came from it?
I feel like a lot of Americans feel like I have appreciated my own time a lot more. Just like what I give my effort to, what I'm going to try for. Like I've had a whole new meaning in what I'm going to actually put effort into in my life. Like I appreciate my time a lot more differently than I used to. And also getting in touch with things that I used to do that I didn't like do enough before, that I kind of like lost touch with, but have gone back into. For me, example, that was mountain biking and roller skating.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Roller skate around UNM?
Yeah, that was me for like a hot second. I would try to go at least every week, at least once. But recently it's been Roller Skate City for me because it is too freaking hot.
Roller Skate City is super fun. The last time I went with some people here at the bar, and I got plowed over, like hard. Let me rephrase that. Okay, so pause. So we were going to Roller Skate City, and it was adult night or something like that. It was just fun.
Sunday nights.
Yeah, Sunday adult night. Exactly, right? And we went, and I'm in the middle, and there's this like group of fast people. And I don't.
Did they have whistles? Were they in a line?
Yeah, they were in the line. They were like and they're like showing off. And meanwhile, I'm in the middle, like keeping a groove, but I'm still pretty novice at skating. Like I can skateboard. I'm not very good at roller skating.
Different concepts.
I can Healy. That I can do. But I'm roller skating, and then I'm trying to get out. But if you're slow, you're on the inside. So I look behind me, no one's there. I start to go towards the exit, and one of those fast guys just plowed me into like
the edge of like the little
like you saw it's on Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
So that part right there where it just I nearly broke my collarbone, and it knocked the wind out of me, and I was like, oh. And then I stand up, I try to act all tough, and everyone's real nice. They're like, you okay, man? I'm like, Yeah. Trying to get my breath back.
Yeah, no.
I haven't been back since. My ego was kind of hurt a little bit.
I mean, yeah, falling is part of it. Like, but that's just part of learning, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I know it is.
I had the same experience with my brother. He wanted to go so bad, and he just kept asking me to take him for forever. My brother's 13 for reference, so he's like a kid.
Young man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took him, and he finally like got up, and we finally got on his skates and whatever. And he'd been asking me to take him for so freaking long, and then finally we get there, and he gets up on his skates, and he's like, "I'm not good at this anymore. I don't remember being this bad," and like wouldn't even like stand up or move away from the wall. It took me like the full 2 hours of like being like, "Come on, let's try this way. Like we'll scooch past these people. Here's the little carrito that they give you so that it's a little easier, like, you know, the little wheelie thingy that you hold on to." And by the end of it, he was like killing it and was so much better off. But it did take like a minute of being like,
"Yeah,
we gotta coax you into it." But
I
don't
did get
be
back
scared.
on the floor though. I did get back on, and I did okay, and I learned how to cross. But that was embarrassing because for some reason there's like this. There's a lot of like the people who go to adult nights at Roller Skate City are not the kind of people who are in the Northeast Heights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
It's more my kind of people, like Valley people.
Yeah.
But I felt it made it worse because if I flopped in front of a bunch of like snot-nosed white people, I'd be like, "Fuck you guys." But then I flopped next to a lot of South Valley folks, and I'm like, "Shit, they saw that."
Like,
I feel
shame.
bad.
Yeah, no, that's a hard thing to get over, but you know, everybody falls. I've seen the best skaters at Roller Skate City, which I guess is now called Skatomania, fall. So
Yeah, Roller Skate City is surprisingly cheap.
they came back. Honestly, I'm glad that they came back. But
did they close?
I know that they were really struggling during the pandemic. I think there was like talks of it kind of being on the verge of closing down, but then Netflix swooped in and saved it. So.
Oh, because of Stranger Things.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've noticed, but they actually have a like limited time Stranger Things pinball machine in there since they like filmed it in there. Yeah, it's
that's cool.
They have a little arcade there, and they have like a
Nice.
Stranger Things pinball machine that was gifted to Roller Skate City after they filmed.
That's cool. Is season 4 filmed there, or is it just the previous seasons?
No, season 4's there for sure. There's some very big scenes early on in season 4 that are there.
Those people at the bar, don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just saying
1.
it was definitely in Roller Skate City. There's a couple big scenes there. You'll definitely recognize it from your childhood. I know I did.
Oh yeah. Because I saw a couple scenes from the earlier season. It's in the earlier season, right?
Like season 4,
Is it
part
just
1.
season 4? Okay.
Yeah.
I rember something.
It was filmed elsewhere before the season.
When I was watching the part 1, but like watching it, I was like, holy shit! And then they still have that ticket grab machine. It's a little updated now.
Yes.
But growing up, like when you were the birthday boy, and you could like grab tickets to get like a free pretzel and then like an extra ticket. And
they threw you in the tornado,
fun.
whatever
the
thingy,
hurricane
and to
or
catch
something like
the little tickets or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. They do still have that now, but it's updated. You're right.
It is updated.
I don't know if I'd do it again. But
I would. That's really fun.
I feel like I'm smarter now. I'd take like a jacket and spread it out so they all get caught on the back.
I saw this TikTok of this chick who held her hands at the hole and just caught whatever flew by and started feeding it out, and she got like, it was a cash one, and she got like $400.
Wow.
Strategy.
Gotta be smarter than the machine.
Absolutely smarter than the. Heck yeah.
Always try to be.
One of my nostalgic places in Albuquerque is Hinkle. You ever go to Hinkle?
I had friends that used to work at Hinkle. That was some of their first jobs. So yeah, I definitely.
Oh yeah.
I know Hinkle.
Yes, I went back for the first time in like 5 or longer. I'm 24. Last time I went was when I was 18, so 6 years. I went back for the first time in 6 years, and it is still super fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. Did you do the virtual reality?
Yeah.
The little pods.
Oh,
No.
the pods?
Yeah, usually on they had like the virtual reality little pods, like video game.
But that was the mech fighting.
I think so.
So they took out the mech fighting. It's no longer there, which I'm sad about because this is my favorite part. But they took out the mech fighting. Now they have one of those 4D rides where you sit in and then you put on the glasses.
Oh, very cool.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I liked it. I do miss the mech fighting, but then laser tag is legendary, right? Laser tag is the best.
I agree. I think it's...
Their putt-putt course is now one of the only putt-putt courts in Albuquerque since putt-putt closed.
Sad day.
That's a sad one. That closed before the pandemic, too. They couldn't even make it to the pandemic. I want to buy it.
Heartbreaking. I think something is out there. I know it's been
Is
for
it?
sale for a while. I don't know. I I don't know. Maybe
think it's still
I've only
for
been in
sale.
town for like a little while. I know I've driven by. I thought there was something up there, but I could be wrong.
Drive by because that's a childhood nostalgia spot for me too. A lot of things that I thought were going to close because of the pandemic survived.
I'm surprised by some of the things that survived the pandemic,
Yeah.
TBH, but I'm also surprised by some of the things that closed down.
Like what?
Well, we saw IHOP
IHOP sucked though.
go down.
IHOP was
hardcore.
ass.
I loved me some Midnight IHOP, and you cannot convince me differently.
Midnight Denny's was better.
Ew, no.
IHOP, you'd be waiting around 3 hours. You'd maybe get your food, and it was way fucking expensive. Denny's, they didn't give a shit. You just sat down, they threw you on some slop, and you were good to go. But it was damn good slop.
Okay, I have a very different opinion, but I think it's because I lived down the street from an IHOP. They knew me there.
Well,
They
don't
hooked
you?
it up.
So, working at Dion's, did you ever trade pizzas at the end of the night for shakes? Were you a part of that?
No, I was not, but my time at a undisclosed coffee shop, I did do that with another fast food chain that was in the same parking lot. And it was frowned upon by security and my higher-ups, but did I still do it?
Oh, no. Yeah,
TBD.
corporations.
But
I can neither confirm nor deny. She pleads the fifth.
I'm saying if you haven't done it, it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's fair. So that's closing up for me today, but I really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It was great to see you. Great to catch up.
I know, it was awesome.
Hope I put you on something.
Yes, I'm going to have these more regularly now. This is amazing. And again, you're the first person I've ever drinking with at my bar. So,
Woo!
Woo. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.